probably going to be a really long video, so it's going to take up a lot of storage, but we're not going to worry about that.
Okay,
So we were doing ours about the art department, and we were asking Natalie questions about how many students are coming by the art gallery.
okay.
So like we were asking about. So we wanted to ask you how many students are taking art classes for like this year compared to earlier years. Is it going up or is it going down in your personal viewpoint?
I think it's going up. Short answer. I think we have students that are interested in pursuing art on many different levels. So we see good enrollment in many of our classes, even for students who are not majoring in art. We see a big interest in hands-on work in art, learning how to paint, how to draw, how to make things in three-dimensional forms.
Okay. Now, what about the art degrees? Are those, would you say, are more people interested in art degrees now than they were before? Are they less interested? Do you know about that?
Most of our students who have chosen a degree in the art department are choosing design degrees. There's been a huge demand for designers in the professional world. So students have responded to that with interest in developing skills in graphic design, in motion design, which focuses on motion-based media, and I would say interaction design, which focuses on interactive experiences with users, including technology and smartphones. So that's where we're seeing most of our students is in their interest to develop skills that will lead them into a career in design. We also have students who are interested in the more traditional fine arts disciplines like illustration, painting, drawing, and just general studio work. And those courses will prepare students just for lifelong learning, will amend their skills in whatever discipline they might be majoring in, and they will also prepare them to go to graduate school if they're interested in further pursuing a fine arts degree, which will then lead them probably to a position where they might be teaching or using their art in their profession somehow. Also, which this statement that I'm about to tell you could go before what I just said, but also our graphic design students, we are very interested in their developing foundations in fine arts, being skilled at understanding visual observation, the creative process, as it applies to materials and making expressive pieces of their own. So.
Okay, so that actually answered another question I was going to ask about. I was going to ask, are more people taking like conventional art, like drawing, versus graphic design? So you said more people are going towards graphic design nowadays.
Yes, yes.
Do you think there's still a place for conventional artwork and drawing?
Most assuredly, exclamation point. Yes, absolutely. There is a place for the traditional arts, and there is a resurgence of interest in traditional art techniques as we find ourselves losing touch through being in a digital, virtual world. So, yeah.
So, why do you believe an art degree of any sort is important?
To answer that, let's see, so how would I start that answer? I think an art degree is a way, whether it's whether students take a major in an art degree. You say your question one more time. Let me reframe that. I'm sorry.
I was just asking why you believe an art degree of any sort is important. Like, why do you think students should take art degrees?
Well, so I think students who are interested in art are the ones who should consider an art degree. You can scrap that too. I don't think I would want you to print that. I think that I think that art helps to connect us to the world, helps us to understand the world around us, encourages us to observe the world around us, to develop our expressive interests. An art degree can connect a student to a creative process that can be applied to, or can be analogous to, the creative processes that are in all disciplines. So, and I would say that if a student finds that they are creative, likes to create images, and is good with digital media and or in the traditional materials, that they can find great fulfillment throughout their life, and develop skills in creative process and creative. I think this is getting messy. I'm not giving you really clear answers, but you can pick through what I'm saying. And
it's all right.
yeah, no, thank you. And I think that being aware of how we can use our senses, and in visual art that means our eyes, and how we can connect that with our head, sort of what we're thinking, and our heart, how we're feeling, is hugely important for any human. So it can be done in most disciplines. A scientist is creative, you know, someone who writes is creative. So it can be done in many different ways. It's and in different places, different contexts. But I think that those students who love art should pursue it for their own fulfillment, and possibly as a way to develop a career, like making and selling their work, working for a company where they can exercise their creative problem-solving skills, applying it to a different discipline that they might be focused on, if they're a teacher or nursing student. Being able to observe accurately, to describe, and to communicate. These are things that art will directly help anyone with. By looking at art, by making art, you become better at describing what you see, better at working with other people as you develop understanding of how other people make or see art. You understand that there's great diversity and different understandings, and we can find community in that diversity of different ways of making art and even looking at art. I work with nursing students, and we look at and make art for two reasons: to develop our diagnostic skills, our communication skills, our team skills in team building, and also for self-care. So, yeah.
Okay. So the self-care part. Natalie yesterday talked about there's introducing a new major about like using art therapeutically.
Mm-hmm.
Would can you tell me more about that?
That many of our students over the past, a good number of our students regularly in the past have gone on to pursue a degree after Lewis in art therapy. So with that, we have developed a program for students to be able to apply that learning earlier on in their career, so whatever that might be. Yeah, so.
Okay. So I was thinking something I probably should have asked first, but I'm gonna ask it now. What do you teach
Oh,
specifically?
so I teach many of the foundation courses, such as drawing, painting, art appreciation. Well, wait, no, let me start that over. I teach many of the foundation courses, two-dimensional design, three-dimensional design, drawing. I also teach some workshops in clay, because I have a history of clay myself, and students are really interested in working in clay. And I also teach art appreciation. I teach an interdisciplinary course in visual observation across disciplines. That course will start in the summer of '24. And what else do I teach? I think I mentioned 2D design, 3D design, drawing. Oh, and life drawing. Life drawing.
So you do clay stuff, so like a kiln in here or something?
Yeah, we have I also am the advisor for the art club, which is general interest art club, student organization, and the upcoming clay creations that has been started by several students and will start in the spring of '24. And we don't have a ceramics program here, but we do have a kiln and the materials to make pottery on the potter's wheel and hand building sculpture.
So, or is it like over there or something?
It's right in the next room. The kiln is, yeah. Yeah, it's a big silver thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's on right now.
Oh, really?
Firing at the last minute. Yeah, to the end of the semester.
So, about the art shows that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's kind of more into her department and not
Mm-hmm.
so much yours, but
That's right, yeah.
the students that submit art to that, how many, like, how do you know a piece is good enough to submit? Is that really something you can know? Or
That's a great question, Jonathan. How to know whether art is good or not is difficult to be able to discern. For the art gallery, we use the art gallery, and Natalie probably mentioned this, that the art gallery is used as it's a teaching gallery, that we want students to learn from having art in their lives. We want them to understand their own expressive skills by looking at professional artists' work hanging in a gallery atmosphere. We want to expose them to diverse types of art that they can learn from. So that's what the sort of the part of the mission of the art gallery is, to be used as a teaching gallery for students. What that looks like is that students will go and observe works of art in the gallery. They'll also go listen to the artists whose work is in the gallery, professional artists. They'll go listen to them talk about their work. And for me personally, I have a special way of using the art gallery with the nursing students, again, as as a way to allow them to have practice at paying attention and visual observation and being able to describe and discuss works of art, to understand them better, and then also to be able to talk with each other about it, be able to communicate and with it. But how do you decide if a work of art is worthy of hanging in the gallery, be in a show, if there's an exhibit that is going to be juried, meaning someone will come in and pick the pieces for the show? How do you know, what's the criteria for knowing something is good? There are several ways that I think as a professor that I choose works of art, and I think there are some general standards to the way that a juror might choose some works of art if they were picking works of art for a show. Context is huge. What is the theme of the art show? Who are the participants, the contributors to the, so that's one thing, knowing sort of what the show is about and what and who is submitting work for the show. Another point that one might think about in terms of choosing a work of art is the intention of the work of art, knowing the intention. And through visual observation, we can look at something and analyze it, and we can make some judgments about what's going on in a work of art, like what it's about, what the intentions are behind a work of art. So that is another way, is sort of intentions. Another way to think about what makes good art is skills, sort of skills with materials and techniques, something that is just very carefully created in a particular material like paint or charcoal or wood or anything like that. That is a way to consider how advanced a work of art is, whether it belongs in a and then I think we all have our biases, our personal interests. So when choosing artwork for a show, oftentimes we know that we have personal interests. A juror might know that I have my personal likes and dislikes, but I also am a professional, and I can see and observe works of art. Having decades of experience, I can see what's going on I can leave my biases and my preferences at the door when I'm looking at art. And to do that, I oftentimes rely on looking at not only whether the artist is good with the materials, but also how I can read the artwork, how I can understand what's going on in the artwork, which might be sort of identifying the subject or looking at the form, how it's put together, a composition, or thinking about the meaning of the work of art. So subject, form, and content become little sort of reminders checklist of how to sort of look at an artwork.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty good.
Authenticity and intention, I think, are huge. Authenticity, intention, is huge.
So I did have a question about some of the artwork in the gallery.
Okay.
So it's just not super related, but I was just curious about it. They had like licensed characters in them. So, and she said that the two pieces in there that had like these licensed characters weren't for sale. Was that like because they're licensed characters?
I have no idea. I can't really answer to that.
Oh,
I know that, I really don't know. I haven't even looked at them yet. I don't, so,
Oh, she said to
Yeah.
ask you about it, so.
yeah, right.
Because I just wondered what sort of legal problems you'd run into if you put those for sale.
I'm not sure what the law is. I don't have that at my fingertips, but I think anything for personal use is pretty protected. So, and the old rule was if you alter something significantly, it can be protected for, anyway, but I don't don't use those comments because I don't even know which pieces I think I know which piece but I don't know the character or anything, so.
I was just curious.
Yeah, right.
Like I said, it wasn't super relevant to what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
right.
I just
right.
thought it was.
No, but it's a good question. It's definitely a question that many people wouldn't even think to ask, yeah. In general, we tend to try to respect a student's interest in recreating images that they like, but we also try to expand their sort of resource base to include other things rather than characters that they may be that somebody else did. Let's make your own character. How can you use that as as a resource? And now, how is it made? And now, if you were a designer for a movie or something, or whatever, comics, if you were a designer, what would be the character? What kind of what would be the visual characteristics of the character? So.
So I think.
Is that about it?
Yeah, we've gone over a lot of stuff. I mean.
I have another meeting I'm late to now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So no, that's okay. Yeah, so I should probably go. It's just in the next room, but I think they're going to end at 1, so I should probably go meet with them. Was that helpful?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So this is just for the final assignment. Who's your professor?
Tracy Hemingway.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I don't know if you know her, but
Give her my best.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Okay, you're welcome. Those were great questions. Yeah, and I think you did a really beautiful job of